Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Yes, we took a day off yesterday, we're back today. It's been an incredibly busy week with the old uni work, but I'm glad to be on the channel. A bit of a late upload this evening. Not too much to talk about. It's been quiet since the fallout of the Shakhtar game on Tuesday night. We patiently await a trip to the Tony Macaroni on Sunday, and to fill the void, I decided why not get some of your voices on the channel. Let's talk about Celtic and everything that you're currently thinking at this moment in time. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. I'm back to full spirits, I feel. You know, as I said last week, I wasn't feeling the greatest. I was under the weather, but I'm back. I feel ready to go. The only thing that's keeping me under the weather is the previously mentioned uni work. It's been horrendous, to say the least. So it's been a bit hard to try and get on the channel and do the things as regularly or as well as I normally would. But we're back today anyway, to talk a bit about Celtic and the kind of reaction from Tuesday night's game and where we move forward from here now. As we all know, Celtic are out of European competition for the 22-23 campaign. There'll be no Champions League, Europa League or even Conference League football for Celtic after Real Madrid next week. And for a lot of people, for 99% of us, that is very, very, very sad. You know, I think we all enjoy European competition. We want Celtic to do well in Europe. We understand the task that it is and the challenge it presents. But for that small 1% of people, they might be saying, you know, it's good for us. We can concentrate fully on domestic football. We can try and make our way towards winning as much silverware as possible. And it brings the fixture congestion down. So, you know, whatever side of the fence you lie on, and I imagine the majority of you lie on the side of disappointed slightly, you know, there is still a season to get on with and there is a league title to win, amongst other trophies. So I've decided why not get your guys' opinions and let's talk a bit about the reaction from Tuesday night. Now, if you were online on Tuesday after the result against Shakhtar, that 1-1 draw, you would have seen there was a big reaction to it, and a lot of negative reaction to it, and what I would say is some overreaction to it. I think a lot of people getting really down and out about the fact that we didn't progress any further in European football this season, rightfully so, but without understanding that this was going to be a big ask for Celtic, their first time back in the Champions League in a number of years. Teams like Shakhtar, Leipzig and Real Madrid, who are in the competition every single year with squads that are, you know, veterans in this competition, it was going to be difficult for Celtic to suddenly adjust and be good enough to go and get through that group. And I had high expectations. I will admit that I'm slightly disappointed that we didn't get as many points as I thought we could have, but I think the manager has spoke really well and touched on it really well, that we have improved. We are seeing signs of it. And to suddenly lump us in the same boat, and a lot of lazy journalists and a lot of the lazy media are doing this, to lump us in the same boat as, say, Rangers, who have performed as the worst Champions League side of all time at this rate. To lump us in the same boat as that is nothing close to the representation that I think Celtic have given themselves in the competition this year. We have played well, we have deserved more, I would say, and at times we've been incredibly unlucky across this Champions League group stage. So it is over and done with. I mean, we've got Real, but, you know, we're out of the competition. It is saddening, but a lot to be positive about, a lot to look forward to, and that's why I wanted to get you guys involved. So I put up this tweet earlier today. I said, now that the dust has settled a bit from Tuesday, what's your thoughts on the campaign and for Celtic moving forward this season? Going to do a video collating some of your guys' thoughts, so feel free to respond to some of the reaction / overreaction from the other night. Now, I posted this both on Twitter and the community section on my YouTube channel, so we're going to go through some of the replies, we're going to get your thoughts, and I'm going to give my reaction to some of those thoughts as Celtic look to continue on what is a, so far, very successful domestic campaign. We'll start off with Connor. Connor says, results weren't what we wanted, but we went out and we played our style. And if we took some of the many chances we created, then we could have been in a whole different position right now. Got to learn from it and got to go again next year. Hopefully, we'll be better, and I think that's a very good way to sum things up in terms of the chances that we missed anyway. You know, if we converted them, we would have been in a very different situation right now. It is if buts and maybes. It is that old saying of, if your aunt had balls, she'd be your uncle. There's no point in dwelling on what we didn't do. However, you suddenly take the chances against Real Madrid. Abada, right to start the second half, for example, or was it right to start the game? It's that long ago now. Abada's chances, for example, Maeda's chance, for example, and you could be changing the outcome of that Real Madrid game. You make a different game altogether. The game away here in Poland, I don't even want to talk about that, but you know what I mean. Leipzig, for example, if Joe Hart doesn't throw it away to the opposition, they are if, buts and maybes. But you suddenly get rid of those mistakes. You iron them out your game. You come back better next season with a side who are more confident at taking these chances and ironing out these mistakes. Then you're suddenly changing the complexion of the entire group stage. Because, for example, we win that game in Poland, the whole group changes, and the tone of the next few games changes, and we'd have been sitting on 3 points after 2 games rather than 1. It's massive how much can change. But yeah, we went out and we played our style, and that's one thing that needs to be spoke about and needs to be admired. That Ange never sacrificed nothing. He said he was going to sacrifice nothing, and he stuck to that. And there will be some naysayers who say it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I will go back to that old press conference before the Real Madrid game, the very first game of the group stage. I was there in person, and Ange Postecoglou said right back to the BBC, "You show me a style of play that works, and we'll go for it." Because there is no guarantee. There is nothing that's proven to work. For a side like Celtic, you may as well go out doing what you do best. And if it doesn't work first time, you're certainly going to get better when you're learning it over and over again. So, yeah, good first one. Thanks, Connor. Next up is Asim, who's slightly more negative, but love Asim. Shout out to him of 67 Heel. He says, if we lose in Madrid, I think this will be the least points we've ever had in the Champions League group stage. And that's hugely disappointing given we've had far tougher groups before. Yes, we're a work in progress, but we should have picked up more points, in my opinion. Listen, I wholeheartedly agree. I think that we should have picked up more points, and that comes down to what Connor was saying in his comment about missing these chances suddenly after 2 games. Could have been on 1 point rather than 3 points. We definitely should have had more. I think I'm not hugely disappointed. I think I'm minorly disappointed, in my opinion, because I knew how tough this was going to be. And as I said right at the top of the video, you're in a group with teams like Shakhtar, Leipzig, and Real Madrid, who have been in this competition year after year. And one thing, and I'm not looking to make excuses. I'm definitely not looking to make excuses, because I do agree, I think we should have got more points. But the landscape of the Champions League itself, I feel like has changed massively since even the last time we were in the competition. Like you go back to even 2012 and we had a really tough group back then. And we had a tough group in 2013, and yeah, we managed to get more points. But I think the sport itself and the competition itself and the distance between clubs is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And, you look at a team like Leipzig, who won the Pokal last season, Shakhtar, who are, technically champions of Ukraine, and then the reigning winners of the competition. They've got 3 really difficult teams. So I'm not hugely disappointed, but I definitely do agree that we should probably have picked up more points. Yeah, we're probably going to lose in Madrid. We're probably going to end the group on 2 points. One thing that needs to change, and I'll add to Asim's point here that might come into the disappointing aspect of things, we need to be better at Celtic Park. We can't go on forever waiting for this Celtic Park winning the Champions League. We really had to get one of them in this, and I don't want that kind of run to continue on to next season. You know what I mean? Champions again, definitely heading in the right direction. Not one bad performance after a 5-year absence from the Champions League. We weren't going to be superstars overnight, considering 90% of the squad haven't played Champions League football before and were poor 18 months ago. I put in the league 18 months ago. We go again next year. Another good point. A lot of people making their debuts in this competition, whereas you're coming up against veteran players. I know that Leipzig and Shakhtar in particular possess a lot of great young talent who are probably coming in and playing very limited Champions League minutes for the first time and such. But you look at Leipzig, even with younger players, they all have played the Champions League. And Kunku went on a run to the semi-finals of the Europa League. Vardiol, he might be very young, but he's played, he's done that. And, they've got players all over the team, and the same with Shakhtar as well, who have played in the competition. So it's a learning curve, and it's a good first step. And I said this same phrase in my video the other day. There has to be a natural progression as we look to improve in this competition. And I think this is the next step in it. I would have liked it to have been a bigger step. I'd like us to finish second or third in the group. But you know, the fact is, we went into the Europa League and got battered 4-0 off of Leverkusen last year at Celtic Park. If we went into the competition last year and played Real Madrid at that exact same point, I think it would have been far worse than 3 or 4-0. You know what I mean? So we are getting better, and that's one of the main things. Overnight, it's not going to happen. Would I have liked it to have been better? Am I making excuses? You know, you can answer those questions for yourself. But yeah, listen, I'm quite excited for the prospect of the Champions League next year, because I honestly do think we will do better. I know it's group dependent, but I think we can do better. Fraser Campbell is in with his expectations for the rest of the season. That's one of the things I wanted to touch on in this video as we move forward now. He says, in my opinion, the league plus a cup should be the target at least for the rest of the season. I think at least is a very good choice of words there, at least. But you look at the quality of opposition in this country at the moment, including our rivals Rangers. Is at least a treble too demanding? Is it? We won a double last year. I want to see us take that one step up. I'm not going to be disappointed if we don't win a treble. Like, I won't be angry if we make a really good go of it, like we did last season. But, you know, why not make the at least a treble? I guess it's one step at a time. I'm not saying we're going to win a treble, but should that be the aim now? Should it? I don't know. I don't want to put over expectations on the side or anything like that. But yeah, I think that we need to win this league title. That's the bread and butter. That's a guarantee that we need to keep that as the priority amongst the group of players. But yeah, trophies, I'd like to take them all. Should that be the aim now? There's a question for you in the comments. Is a treble too much? Food for thought. Brother Wolf has said, I think we're in a good place. If you take the baseline from a year ago, we are sprinting in the right direction. Another season under the belt in terms of experience and a couple of additions, and we're on the cusp of something really special. It's clear some players don't fit this team and will probably transition out. I was raging after the game, but some perspective is needed. The only way this falls on its arse is Ange leaves, as I have a full confidence every player is replaceable with him in charge. The second tweet is really good, because I've actually wanted to talk about this before on this channel, and I haven't really touched on it as much as I like to. I 100% agree with Brother Wolf here, your man Wolfred. I think that Ange, his team, and everything that he's done so far suggests to me that if a player does go out, there will be another player to go in. Because the biggest one we talk about is Jota, for example, who is almost irreplaceable in the sense that his quality is unmatched in this country. He's one of the most special talents we've seen at Celtic in a long, long time. However, you look at natural left wingers to take his place when he goes, and Haksabanovic is already ready-made for that. You know what I mean? And I think that Ange and his team, his staffing, and so far his recruitment would suggest to me that when players do leave and they transition out this side, he'll be ready to replace them. The biggest part is obviously Ange stays. Very good second tweet there. I agree with it a lot. But I agree. We're in a good place. And I was quite disappointed when I was leaving the ground the other night, especially because I didn't think the game went in the way that I thought it would, with the kind of slower tempo and such to it. But I think that one thing is we are in the cusp of something special, and we these next two transfer windows are huge, and if we can add to that, I really do think we're a side who's not too far away from being much better. I don't want to use the words competing in Europe, because that suggests you're going to go and win European trophies, but being much better in Europe, giving a better account of ourselves, and a side that players want to play for in Europe. You know what I mean? Sideshow Bob, there's no been any embarrassments in the campaign. We can learn so much from this campaign and improve in future ones. We need to be more clinical in Europe, and if we have all our players fit, it could have been a different story. I touched on that the other night. We've been really unlucky in that side of things. If McGregor was on the park the other night, I think it would have been a different story in that game alone. And then you look across the other 4 games that we've played as well. We've been players that have been injured left, right and centre, man. Like, it's been really irritating. And I'm not saying that would have changed the complexion of it in the sense that, we would have qualified without those injuries and such, but it does make a big difference. We need to be more clinical, and we can learn so much from it. We've avoided embarrassment. I think that we've given, we were told by Rangers fans and other fans that going into this group we were going to be humiliated, embarrassed, and left as Europe's laughing stock once more. It's not happened once to us. And listen, that shouldn't be the bare minimum. Absolutely not. We should be winning games. That should be the bare minimum. But the fact that we haven't been embarrassed is a positive sign of things to come. There is so many good comments on this post, by the way. I'm not even going to get to the YouTube community section because I've been going on too long. But brilliant. Thank you, everybody who has responded to this. if you want me to dive back into it, then let me know in the comments below. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know, because there is so many and I've only got time for a couple more. So we're going to try and get a couple more into the video very quickly, but I appreciate everybody's replies. Everybody has went about it really, really good. So yes. I'm going to bring up a point that Lucy has brought up here, saying, obviously disappointing, but honestly, some of the fans are acting like children. I understand being upset, but this is our first time back in the group stages for a while. We're not going to be perfect first time, and there's obvious areas that we'll work on, and hopefully will. Plus, with the players we've brought in, I hope in the next window we get that same quality in areas we need. Plus, we can look forward to Calmac and Starfelt coming back. Now, the one thing I wanted to touch on from this is the bit where Lucy says some of the fans are acting like children. Now, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and you can say what you like. You know, you're not dictated by anybody to have certain thoughts after the game. But one thing that really annoyed me about Tuesday night was the mass overreaction on players like Hatate and O'Reilly, who, both of them, I thought had quite a poor game. Funnily enough, the stats show that Matt O'Reilly had a really good game, but watching it, I didn't think he was as easy on the eye. I didn't think he was great at all. And Hatate, I didn't think was great either. But there were so many people who were diving in and two-footed to suggest that both of them were not good enough to play for Celtic, and that they were mints, and they're overrated, and we've needed to talk about it for a while. It's mad what a result does sometimes. And some people do overreact. They are well more than good enough to play for Celtic. They are fantastic players and we're lucky to have them, and as soon as they play well again, those people will jump to the other side of the fence. But I understand the whole overreacting and acting like children sort of point. Yeah, absolutely brilliant comments in here. I'm going to try and wrap it up there, but shout out to people very quickly who did comment underneath the tweet. Cal, who always gets involved with the podcast, Boy in Red, Aaron, so David Turnbull, not that David Turnbull, you know, a few good people in here, Callum, Chris, people I didn't get round to Douglas. There's people I just didn't get round to, and it annoys me, but I can't be here all day, sadly, with all the work I've got to do. So yeah, thank you. I enjoyed that, and it's good to get some perspective from what the fans are thinking on what was our almost finished Champions League campaign and our expectations for the rest of the season. It's good to get you guys involved, and I like reacting to your comments and such. So yeah, that'll do it for today. We'll be back hopefully tomorrow on the channel for something, and then obviously we've got Livingston at the weekend as well. So yeah, that's about us, I think. Like and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.